A teacher is weaving a little bit of possum magic in his classroom at a primary school west of Brisbane. His students are learning about science, the environment, animals, biology and maths, and most of the time they don't even realise it. Tony Crisp reports.
Many Queenslanders might see possums as pests, but one school is using them as an educational tool. At Pollara State School, they're being monitored 24 hours a day, not by research scientists, but by kids. And they've got access to security cameras to keep watch on the nocturnal creatures when the playground is usually silent and the children tucked in bed at home. What they're watching out for is the behaviour of brush-tail possums and glider squirrels that live nearby the semi-rural school west of Brisbane.
We have 3 glider boxes and 3 possum boxes. There's glider box 1, glider box 2 and glider box 3. We can tell glider 1 box because it's got the external camera. And usually we have a family of, the least number we've seen is 2 gliders and the most is 8.
What I'm trying to do is to do the observational science. Now that whole process of science where we look at a natural phenomenon, we have some questions about it, and by looking closely and observing that, in this case these animals, further questions are raised. And I'm not one for telling the kids the answers to these questions directly. In many cases, it's often let's keep looking and see if we answer those questions.
It's hands-on learning in this class taught by Jonathan Clark. He says with support from the school community and set-up costs of just over $1,000, the project was seen as an engaging way to teach science.
You got an adult male, an adult female, and a juvenile.
Yeah, male.
Okay. Explain to me how you know that it's a juvenile.
Because it was in the pouch and then it just popped out.
Mr Clark says what started as science teaches his keen students a whole lot more.
The system itself that we're using to observe the animals is a surveillance system. So we've got a direct feed into the classroom from cameras mounted in the nest boxes. So we're actually, the kids are learning to control that system. And there's a whole, they don't know it, but there's a whole lot of maths involved in just figuring out, for example, hey, these are nocturnal animals. What time should we start looking at the recordings to find out what time they entered the box? And so, of course, they're, AM, PM, 24-hour time, that sort of stuff. So there's little spin-offs like that.
And the system is getting more high-tech. There's now an online voice recorder that allows the children to ask experts outside the school more detailed questions about the animals.
We cannot ask one of our classmates, or we cannot look up in a book.
Why do gliders stay all together and possums don't?
One of the things.
And then there are the environmental values that inevitably flow from observing animals in their natural environment.
What is the threat? What is the big thing that's happened?
It's cutting down trees.
What kind of trees in particular?
Old growth.
Old growth. And what is it about old growth trees that's important for these animals? They don't like new ones so much. What is it about the old ones, Dev?
That they've got hollows.
It's the trees that have got hollows in them.
One of the major threats to the program is from development. Once populated by post-war farmlets, the land surrounding Pollara State School is now being increasingly subdivided to make way for Queensland's burgeoning population.
There is a real threat that as development occurs, that habitat is lost, and one of those species that will go rapidly is the squirrel glider. The possum, probably not so.
Mr Clark has high hopes for the possums, gliders and his class. He wants to web stream the video from the nest boxes in the same way that the Australian Antarctic Division runs its webcams.
One of the ideas that I really want to pursue is the idea of web streaming our vision, so that we had a website set up where the cameras taking our images are fed up onto a website. In that way, we could involve other schools in looking into our facilities here, but also the more important part of that is having our kids in conversation with kids from other schools.
Can our message be as simple as don't use barbed wire?
But already Possum Watch is yielding dividends.
When I came to Mr. Clark's class, I didn't know anything about possums or gliders, and I find it quite interesting to see what they do, because every day they do different stuff and go to different boxes.
We usually see them scattering around, laying over each other, it's crazy in there. Sometimes they get up to the boxes and look up directly at the camera.
And Mr. Clark is thrilled the novelty hasn't yet worn off.